What's going on, guys? It's Ladin here, and today we're just going to be doing a top 5 video. No specific countdown or anything, but just in my opinion, some of the top 5 most fun things or fun playthrough adaptations in Borderlands 2. Before we get into this, I just want to point out that all of this is entirely subjectively based. There's no real thought behind this. This is just, in my opinion, a nice, easy video as to what I think would be the most fun ways to play the game. Now, I think before we get started, I'm gonna get some honorable mentions out of the way. First honorable mention, I want to go with Krieg's Bloodsplosion. Krieg's Bloodsplosion ability is extremely broken and overpowered. If you can get a room full of enemies and just melee one or kill one with a grenade or a gun, it's pretty much GG for that entire room. So that's going to be honorable mention number 1, and honorable mention number 2 is going to have to go with Gage's Anarchy stacking. A lot of people might disagree with that one, but I think stacking Anarchy with Gage, while a little tedious and boring, can definitely pay off in the long run. It's definitely a high risk, high reward situation. Quickly, I do want to give a huge shout out to Mr. TX01 on YouTube for giving me some great inspiration. He is a Borderlands content creator. He is definitely of the best, and I just want to give a quick little shout out to him for being so helpful recently and being so supportive. His Discord community, and he is just a great set of people and a great set of minds. So without further ado, we're going to move past the honorable mentions and we're going to get right into the video. Number 4, what I'm going to have to go with is the Herald Grog Nozzle build, or the Herald Grog Nozzle Gunzerk with Salvador. As everybody knows, this is an extremely overpowered and absurd way to run through the game. It makes everything really easy, but nonetheless, it's still an amazingly fun strategy to use, especially if you're a little bit new to the game and you just want to have a little bit of an easier time. Then it's definitely a strategy I recommend checking out. He further boosted with his skills 5 shots or 6, Yippee-ki-yay, or even some of his other skills where that allows you to continue gunzerking for an extended duration based on how many kills you get or what kill you do get. That adds duration. So some of his skills would be you kill somebody and then you get an extra 3 seconds to your duration. Another one of his skills that matches really nicely with this combo is one of his skills, I forget the name of it, but anytime you shoot an enemy, you get to reduce some of your gunzerking skill cooldown, and that stacks, but it's only on a 3-second cooldown, so you have to wait 3 seconds every time. But I think that is honestly one of the better, more used and more obvious and well-known strategies that a lot of people would run on Salvador, not to be mistaken with the next one on this list. Now the next one on this list is going to be possibly an even obvious or more well-known one, and that is going to be Salvador's Deputy, or some people know it as his money shot build. Basically, what he does is he holds any Jacob's shotgun in his main hand, he holds the Lady Fist in his offhand, and basically anytime he shoots a certain amount of rounds out of his shotgun, he'll get down to the last round in his magazine or his clip or whatever a shotgun holds, and that'll give him a money shot bonus. Now usually that's a 400% damage bonus, but because if you have a class mod that adds +5 or +6, it goes up to 880 or 800%, depending on which one you have. This is definitely one of the more brokens, and this can actually be combined with the Tempt Herald and Grog Nozzle build. You can spec into both areas, given that the Deputy Salvador or the money shot build only requires just a few skill points, whereas the Herald Grog Nozzle build requires quite a few more. That one would require you to go down the middle tree quite a little bit, but the money shot build would only require you to go down the left build just a little. So with that, we're going to be moving on to number 2. Number 2, I don't really know if this one is well known or not, but this is personally one of my favorite playstyles, and I really only play with this exact build on this current character, or on this specific character, and that is Maya the Siren. What I really like to use is the B shield, the fibber, or the B shield fibber with the Rough Rider shield in the background, just depending on what I'm doing. But usually it's a mix between the B shield and the fibber, and the Grog Nozzle and the fibber, just so I can get that healing. Plus, because of the fact that it depends on what fibber you have, I like to get the Ricochet variant, which whenever you shoot adds like an extra 7 projectiles to whatever surface it bounced off of. Usually it could be something like this kind of surface or a rock surface, pretty much anything, but the damage is honestly pretty busted and absurd, especially if you can hit a crit with the Lady Fist on the other side. Now, with that being said, I definitely think this is one of the lesser known builds, or maybe it has been known, but it's certainly not one of the metas or one of the super overpowered builds. So it's definitely not up there with some of the other ones that I've had on this list, but I also think it's honestly really fun, and I think everybody should go ahead and check it out. There's a whole lot of fun builds in this game, maybe some less broken than others, but it's not always about having the most broken build. Moreover, it's about having the most amount of fun and enjoying the game as much as you can, because that's what Borderlands is really about. Killing bandits with an unlimited amount of guns at your disposal, and just having a good time while doing so. With this next build, we're going back to one that is old as time itself, and that's going to be the Sandhawk B Shield combo. This one goes back to the game's early release, and also, in case you're wondering, yes, I did want to include the OG conference call B Shield, but I believe that that kind of strategy has been so overknown that it might not have been worth putting on this list. But if you do not know what I'm talking about, on a pre-patch of Borderlands 2, the conference call had the ability to get damage amplification on every one of its projectiles, which made it, when pairing with the B Shield, an absolute monster. But the combo that I'm currently talking about is using this Sandhawk that I have and the B Shield in my inventory. This is honestly one of the more well-known combos or strategies to use, especially when you're fighting a boss. Now, it's not going to work for every scenario because some bosses or enemies may be bullet resistant, whereas some bosses or enemies may actually be better to use this combo or strategy compared to some others. Now, this is honestly a very fun strategy, but it can get boring really quick, so it's always good to make sure to switch up your playstyle. But with that being said, that's going to end that for those 4 listings right there, and I'm going to move on to the next part of the video. Now, because we've discussed all these builds in the video, I want to discuss some of the major problems or flaws or drawbacks that these builds may possess. Now, the first one I want to start with is the Herald and Grog Nozzle build. The problem with this build is a lot of enemies in the game, especially on the higher levels or OP levels, are explosive resistant. So regardless of how much damage you're dealing, your healing, even though it's 66% on the Grog Nozzle, won't be able to keep up with it, because the enemies that have reduced damage from a specific element type, such as explosion, will cause you to do less damage, thus less healing. Plus, if you're on Salvador and you're gunzerking all the time, the Herald and Grog will get drawn out, and it will start to get a little boring. That's just how it is when you're playing like that, but if it's fun for you, then obviously you should keep doing it. Another problem for another strategy that I'd say is the Deputy Salvador build. That build is very busted and very OP. We love it all. But some of the major problems with that build come from the fact that you need to have accuracy with this build. As you need accuracy with every build, but sometimes shotguns are not very reliable with accuracy, and it lacks the healing factor that the Herald and Grog Nozzle offers. Now, you can switch back and forth, but I think this build is really only working well if you're going for some slight mobbing or some really non-invincibility phased bossing, just because of the fact that when you have no healing, especially in the higher levels, this build can sometimes be a lesser preferred option depending on what you're doing. Now, some obvious flaws and problems that I see with the B-Fibber combo is the fact that the Fibber in itself is not a very amazing weapon. It's really good when you first get it, depending on the variant you get or what you're farming for due to its purpose, because I do know that there is a shotgun Fibber and then there is a critical Fibber. The one that I like to go for is the Ricochet Fibber, as mentioned previously in this video, but they all have their strengths and weaknesses. But the main problem with the B-Fibber combo is the fact that it will not carry you as far as some of the other builds in this video, such as the Herald Grog Nozzle build or the Salvador Money Shot. The B-Fibber combo is a very well-off build, but honestly, it just lacks in late-game potential, unlike the other builds in this video. And finally, the last one we have, of course, is the B-Sandhawk. Now, honestly, if you thought I was going to have a problem with this build, you would be right, but the problem is more subjective-based than it is objectively, and that for me is just that it's just using the same weapon and the same shield over and over. Believe me, I love the bee shield, I love the Sandhawk, but honestly, if I'm running Borderlands 2 for a couple of hours, or just however long I want to have a little couch session, running the Sandhawk and the bee shield is not what I want to do. Sometimes you want to relax. The Sandhawk and bee shield combo can sometimes overcomplicate, or not even overcomplicate, make everything super easy. And sometimes you don't really want to be playing like it's the last match on Earth. Sometimes you just want to sit down and relax. So I guess with that being said, the only subjective flaw with this build is the fact that mainly it's used for really quick and really easy mobbing, but in my subjective opinion, it just kind of feels like a little too try-hard if it's just a casual game of Borderlands. You know, I figured while we're on the topic, I might as well discuss the honorable mentions just a little bit more. I don't think I want to go too into depth, but if you guys were wondering my opinion on the matter of what the flaws are with Krieg's Bloodsplosion, I honestly don't think there are many, except for the fact that it's completely reliant on the fact that you need multiple enemies in an arena for it to work, or you need a very specific set of circumstances in order to pull it off and do massive damage. That's all I have to say about Krieg's Bloodsplosion, and I feel like with Gage's Anarchy, it's pretty self-explanatory. You have to sit somewhere and farm Anarchy stacks, and sometimes it's not even worth it because you could accidentally reload and then all of a sudden you lose your Anarchy stacks. 30 minutes of preparation for 2 minutes of work that may or may not be tossed down the drain. Gage is a pretty decently designed character. A lot of people don't like her because of her poor design around the game itself, but I think she's still a fun character and provides an excellent challenge to play as compared to some of the other characters, given her late entry into the series and her skill building all around. Now, I know this isn't usually the content that I make on a regular. Usually it's horror games, it's screaming, it's stuff like that. I would still love to make horror content, and I still will, but I just want to dip a little bit into the Borderlands franchise, considering Borderlands 4 is coming out soon, and I really want to play it. But in case you guys don't know this, I am a die-hard Borderlands 4 fan. I've been playing since the PS3, so I thought it would be good to make some videos on Borderlands 2, considering the community for this game is huge, and I love making videos on it. I've only live streamed a couple of times, but I really hope you guys do enjoy the Borderlands content that I put out there, and if you do, feel free to let me know down in the comments below. If not, that's okay, I can't force you, but this is just a new step for my content that I really hope will improve both my YouTube channel, my view on my YouTube channel, and the fun that I have while I record and make these videos. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up and move to the last part of the video. Now before I end the video, I do want to say one final thing before I cut the recording. And that is going to be the fact that I do want to apologize for the odd commentary, as this is the first time I've done a video of this style, where I'm ranking something and I honestly don't even have a script. So I'm just kind of saying whatever's on my mind, so that's why there's a lot of filler words like and I stutter, or I might just be rambling on about something entirely not even related to the video. So if you will please bear with me, I will continue to make videos and get better at making higher quality content. But with that being said, I think I do want to end the video here because it's kind of drawing along. So if you guys did enjoy, please leave a like, subscribe, and comment down below what your favorite part of the video was, whether or not you disagreed with me or agreed with me. I would love any feedback on my commentary style, because this is the first time I've done something like this. So, with that being said, if you guys did enjoy, please leave a like, smash the subscribe button, and I will see you all in the next video, whether or not that's horror or Borderlands alike.